Hello and welcome to another Stellar Guitarist song tutorial. Today we are going to be learning how to play a Crosby, Still, Nash and Young song, Teach Your Children. We're going to be learning a handful of beginner-friendly chords, a typically country-sounding strumming pattern, and a full playthrough at the very end. So let's get into the lesson. So for the basics of the song, just make sure that your guitar is in standard tuning. We're not going to need a capo for the lesson, and we have 4 chords that we need to learn. So the first chord is a D major. We also have a G major next, and for this song I like to use a 4-fingered G, just because of that easy transition between the D and the G chord with that pivot finger. So our ring finger acts as a pivot between the D and our G chord. We're also going to need an A major, and the final chord we need is a B minor. So we have options here. We can play a full bar chord version. So if that's where you're at in your journey, then full B minor bar chord please. If you are just starting out, then you might want to go for something a little bit easier here. We have 2 options. We have our 3-fingered B minor chord, which is going to be first finger in the 2nd fret on that high E string, 2nd finger 3rd fret on that B string, and then 3rd finger 4th fret on that G string. And that's a 3-fingered B minor. You can also play it with 4 fingers, where your pinky is just going to take the place of that ring finger, and that ring finger then scooches up into still being in the 4th fret, but it's just going to be squeezing down the D string. So the 3-fingered version, you can only play 3 strings. The 4-fingered version, you can play 4 strings. And the full bar chord, you can play the 5 strings. So of course, the bar chord is going to give you the richest sound, but it's really up to you which of these chord variations you want to play. So let's have a look at the verse and chorus of the song. It's really straightforward, nothing too tricky here. We're going to have a D major to our G chord, back to our D, and then we have our A major chord. So in total, we're going to have 4 counts on each of those chords. So we can play it through quickly with just 4 down strums on each of the chords. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4 to the G. Must have the D chord that you can A chord. Repeats, and the D, and to the G, become the D, and then the A chords. Okay, so that is just laying down that foundation, 4 beats per chord. Now, we're going to add in a really typically country-sounding strumming pattern here, and it's called a boom chuck. So a boom chuck is just going to be telling you which strings you need to hit. So the boom is when you play the lower strings, like your bass note of the chord, and then the chuck is going to be when you strum through those treble strings. So we're going to be looking at each of those chords now to just figure out which bass note we need to play on the boom. So when we're playing a D chord, we're going to be plucking the D string as our boom, and then our chuck is going to be the strum through of the remaining strings. So we pluck the D and we strum through the other strings. The G chord, we're going to pluck the low E string on the boom. The chuck will be from the D string down. So we have boom, chuck. Back to the D chord. Again, we repeat the same thing. We pluck the D string, strum the rest. And then our A chord, we're going to be booming on the A string and chucking from the D string down. Okay, so spend some time just getting familiar with those different bass notes, because your pick is going to need to jump around fairly quickly between these chords. So what we're going to do is 4 boom chucks on each of the chords. So the D will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, the G, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the D, 1, that is also a pretty basic way to play the song, and that I guess would be the foundation of this song. So if you listen to the original, especially in the intro, you'll really hear that boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck happening. But I do want to also mention that they play the song with a bit of freedom as well. It's not just that boom chuck all the way through. They also add a few up strums here and there. So if you want to play the song just straight with the boom chuck, it would sound like this. You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, become the past is just a goodbye. So it works, but I think we need to create a bit more musicality in the song. So we're going to loosen it up a little bit. I find that doing the boom chuck on every single chord for 3 minutes straight is going to become a little bit tedious on the ear. So let's loosen up the rhythm and loosen up that boom chuck a little bit. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to start with a boom chuck. We have a boom chuck, and then we're going to have an up, down, up. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and boom chuck, up, down, up, boom chuck, up, down, up, boom chuck, up, down, up. It sounds really cool. Boom chuck, up, down, up, boom chuck, up, down, up. And then you can also play a lot quicker when we're playing with this variation of the boom chuck rhythm. So let's try that now, starting on that D chord, and each of the chords is going to get 2 rounds of that. So it's going to sound like this. 2, 3, 4. Boom, chuck, up, down, up, repeats, and to G. Back to D, boom, chuck, up, down, up, boom, chuck, up, down, up, A. Back to D, become the G chords, because the D is just an A chord. Keep going. D, you're to the G, their father's D, then slowly A chords, and boom chuck, up down, up boom chuck, up down, up G, the one they D, the one you'll A chords. So I really love the way that sounds, and I feel like it really could be something that you could take on stage, perform in front of friends and family. It just has a bit more musical flow to it. So I really hope that you enjoy that variation that you can also bring into the song. So the next part we're going to be looking at is the bridge, and the chords are going to change here. So the chords will be up on the screen for you. We have a D first, to our G, back to D. We're then going to change to that B minor chord. And I'm going to play a bar chord here. And we then have a G to an A. Okay? So just to give you some context, the D, the G, the D, and the B minor will all get the same amount of rounds of playing the boom chuck, up, down, up. So it's just twice. When we get to the G, we're going to play it for 1 round. So the G will just be, and then straight to that A chord for 1 down strum. Okay? And we're also going to add in a mute after we've strummed. Okay? Just to cut that A chord short. So the whole bridge is going to sound like this, starting on the D, D, and to the G, and to the D, and B minor, G, and A. Okay, if we add some singing, it'll sound like this. Don't you ever ask them, G, if they told you you would D. So just look at them and B minor, and the G and A, and know they love you. And then the D that is part of that bridge at the very end on the word love is actually going to form part of the guitar solo. And the guitar solo and the intro are exactly the same. So this is the last part of the song we need to look at. So we have a D, going to a G, back to D, we have an A, and then we also have another A with the little star, which means we're going to strum and cut it short. Okay, so the D, G, D are all going to get a full bar of the strumming pattern, and then that A will get half a bar of the strumming pattern, and then one down strum. So I'll show you exactly what that's going to look like. So starting on the D, 2, 3, 4, boom, chuck, up, down, a boom, chuck, up, down, a G, back to the D, now the A, boom, chuck, up, down, up, stop. So remember to do the one strum and then we stop the strings from ringing out. So as I've mentioned before, this is not a difficult song. It's actually really fun to play. And so what we'll be doing next is a full playthrough of the song. So make sure you have all those sections under your fingers. And when you're feeling ready, I'll see you in the next section of this lesson. So let's do a full playthrough starting on the D major. A 1, 2, 3, 4. You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well. Their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they pick, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you of tender years can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they pick, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. Thanks so much for jamming with me today and learning how to teach your children on the guitar. If you enjoyed this lesson, then go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel and join the Stellar Guitarist community. Have a look at the lesson that is being suggested to you on the screen. I'm sure you will enjoy it. And until next time, I can't wait to see you in another Stellar Guitarist song tutorial. Have a wonderful day. Bye.